So first of all, we discuss we know what is meant by thread. So actually, while operating system was going to execute something, that means either execute any process or any instruction or anything. So at that situation, so it was divided that entire process into several sub instructions or several sub processes. So here, whenever we are dividing that process into several sub processes or several sub instructions at that situation, so whatever the instruction was executed directly by the processor, so that means some part of the given instruction by the user, so that execution can at a time how much amount or how much memory size of the instruction can be executed by the particular process. So such amount of instruction can be treated as can make as a one thread. So that means here thread is a some lightweight process, so to execute some specific instruction at a time. So here it was executes the particular instruction at a time. So whenever we are divide several any program into several threads, then each and every thread can be executed simultaneously without depending on the any others. So that is nothing but a thread. So here thread is some execution of a process or execution of the smallest sequence of instruction. So that is the basic definition for the thread. So here while we are using in this chapter we are going to discussing what is meant by multi-thread or multi-thread. What are the several multi-threading models, why we are using such multi-threading models, and what are the several thread libraries, and while we are preferring the threads to executing any process, at that situation what are the several issues was faced by the users and developers, and fewer examples for the threads. So these are the concepts we will discuss in this chapter. So now coming to the first one, multi-threading models. So here while we are going to execute or while we are going to processing any instruction or any program, so such program can be divided into or such program can be divided into several sub processes. So why we are dividing that particular program or that particular process into several sub processors means to easily execute and to concurrently or simultaneously executing the particular program or the particular process. So for that purpose, that particular program can be divided into the several sub processes. So here each and every sub process can handle by the separate thread. So each and every process or every sub process can handle by the some specific thread. So that means to executing any instruction or any program, we are dividing the program into several sub instructions, and each and every sub instruction is handled by the some specific thread. So that means to handle or to executing or to processing any specific process, we are using the multiple threads. So that is the reason why we are choosing the multi-threading concepts or multi-threading programming. Okay, next. So here why we are using multi-core or multi-processes means these multi-cores or multi-processes was putting some pressure on the programmers. So which type of pressure means, so how we are dividing that particular program activities into several sub activities or several sub processes, and how to balance in the those all sub programmings and sub processes, and how we are splitting the particular data into multiple parts. And while we are going to dividing some single program or some single process into several sub processes, at that situation is there any data dependency or not, and we can perform the testing and debugging. So that means we are performing the testing for any process. So the particular process was executed by operating system with multi-threading concept. That means it was divided into several sub-instructions and then execute each and every instruction simultaneously. So and then also debugging. So these are the several challenges faced by the developers who was developing these threads or multi-programming in operating systems. And in this, the major thing is the parallelism. So that means which can implies how to perform more than one task simultaneously. That is the major complexity in multi-programming or multi-core programming. So here and the same way concurrency also. So here this multi-threading concepts can support concurrently executing the any instructions. So these are the major things, parallelism and the concurrency. So there is some difference between concurrency and parallelism. So that is so in parallelism, some single instruction or some single process can be executing simultaneously by the more than one process or more than one thread. So in concurrency, so some number of processes can be executed simultaneously within a single core or a single processor. So that is the basic differences between the parallelism and concurrency. So now we observe some more details about the multi-core programming. So here what are the different types of parallelisms? So while we are going to implementing the multi-threading, so at that situation, so we are executing such instructions in parallelly. At that time, there is a problem with some data parallelism. How we are accessing that specific data by the multiple users simultaneously. That is the major problem. And next data parallelism, and next one is the task parallelism. So in this, which thread can be executed first and next which thread can be performed. So that is the task parallelism, and how it was executing the more than one tasks or more than one processes parallelly. So these two types of parallelisms are implemented in multi-core programming. So here whenever we are increasing the number of threads, so then what happened? So it was architecturally supporting for the more threads. So here whenever we are increasing more number of threads or whenever we are using more number of threads, at that situation, so how programmers or developers can implement so their architecture, the particular system architecture in this manner. So how the particular architecture can support the multiple threads. So that is also one more difficulty while we are using the multi-threading concept. So these are the some major problems while we are going to using the multi-threading. So here whenever number of threads was increased, at that situation how architecturally supporting those multi-threads. So that means how CPUs have cores as well as hardware threads. That means so in case the particular CPU was processed or included with a single core structure, at that time how our programmer or developer can implement or can processing the particular process with multiple threads. So that is the one difficulty. And next in case for example we consider several examples like either Oracle Spark T4. So this is the one simple one of the example for the multi-threading processor. So here it was coming, the particular processor comes with 4 threads and 8 cores. So that means each and every thread or each and every core can have the 8 threads for each and every core. So here just we are observing. So whenever we are going to increasing the number of threads, at that situation simultaneously there is a changes in their hardware also. So now we observe some differences between concurrency and parallelism. So what is meant by concurrency and what is meant by parallelism? So here whenever we consider concurrency, so here actually concurrency and parallelism both are similar. So that means both are used for executing the more than one task simultaneously. For that purpose we are using the concurrency and parallelism. So now we observe some basic differences between the concurrency and parallelism. So here we observe while we are going to using the concurrency, so actually this concurrency execution was used in single core systems and this parallelism was used in multi-core systems. So here we observe, so this is the single core system, so it was executed task 1, after that task 2, task 3, task 4. After completion of this again task 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So in this manner it was executing those more than one task can be executed simultaneously simultaneously or concurrently in the single core. So that means here it was trying to execute T1, T2, T3, T4 at a time, so sequentially or some sequential manner. So that means here whenever it was fetching the data from task 1 at that time, so it will read whatever the instructions from the task 2. So whenever it was executing the task 1 at the time, simultaneously it was fetching the data related to the another task. So in this way parallelly or simultaneously processing the executions of more than one task. And that means in single core system at a time it can execute only one task only, but at the time of executing the particular task remaining hardware components are free. So at that particular time those are processing the remaining process other than the execution. So that is the concurrently execution. And next coming to the parallelism. So in this parallelism, actually this parallelism concept, parallelism execution was used in the multi-core systems. That means more than one core was used in the particular CPU. So for example here we consider there are two cores, just a dual core system. That means there are two cores. So the core 1, core 2. So here core 1 was executing the task 1, simultaneously core 2 was executing the task 2. At the same way core 1 was executing task 3. So here single core at a time can execute single process. That means here T1, so at the time of executing the T1 at the time, so T3 related data was fetched into the memory. So at the time of executing the T3 again processing the T1 execution. So in this manner at a time it can execute only one instruction for one core, but remaining fetching and decoding, so those things can be performed simultaneously. But here we are using more than one core, so that's why it was executing the T1 simultaneously or parallelly it was executing the T2 in core 2. So whenever T3 was executed in core 1 simultaneously or parallelly, so core 2 was executing some another task. So in this manner, so these are some basic difference between the concurrent execution and parallelism. So now we observe some more details, some more differences between the single core, single threaded and multi-threaded processes. So here while we are going to executing any instruction, these are some basic things. So what is the code, what are the data related to the such code, and is there any files was required to storing the data. And then we are using the registers and the stack for executing that particular instruction. So here we are using the single thread. So only this single thread is the responsible for so only the single thread is responsible for executing those multiple processes simultaneously. So here in multi-threaded process we are using the separate thread for each and every instruction. That means in case it was having 4 threads and then it can at a time it can execute the 4 processes. In case it was 8 threads, then at a time it can execute the 8 processes in this manner. So for simple example, so now we are running simultaneously PowerPoint presentation, OBS and Google Chrome, and that's it I think, so majorly. So here Google Chrome is whatever the operations or whatever the process required by the Google Chrome. So that entire process handled by the one thread. OBS Studio for recording this present class. For that purpose we are using the one thread. That means operating system was uses the one thread. For presenting the PPT, so for that purpose it was using the one thread. So in this manner each and every task is handled by the separate threads. So now we observe how to improve multi-threaded or multi-core programming performance. So here to improve the performance or latency of the single core or multi-core systems, we are using the some standard formula. So that is the Amdahl's law. So this law can be used how we are increasing the latency of that particular process execution. So for that purpose we are using this particular law. So that is speed up is less than or equals to 1 by s plus 1 minus s by n. So here s indicates some serial portion of the execution, and n indicates number of processes simultaneously executed by the particular processor. So this is the some basic formula to improve the performance of the multi-threaded systems. For example, just example, so there is some process, that particular process was executed 75% of the process in parallel manner and 25% of execution in serial manner. So at that situation, so it was moving from the core 1 to the core 2. So that means so these both cores, that means 75% of the execution was performed by the one core and 25% of the execution was performed by the single core. So actually the 75% is parallel, that means both cores are executing the that part of the execution. After that only single core was used. After that only single core was executing the rest of the process. So to getting what is the performance of the what is this performance or what is the speed up of the particular device is 1.6% or 1.6 times. So why? Because it was executing the 75% of the process execution in parallel manner, remaining 25 in normal manner, that means serial manner. So that's why. So this is the formula for calculating or knowing the speed of the particular speed or latency of the particular any specific process execution. So these are some basic terminologies regarding to the threads. So what is thread and why we are preferring the multi-threaded modeling or multi-core modeling. So now we observe, now we discuss multi-threading models. So while we are going to executing any process by using the multi-threading concept or multiple threads, at that situation what are the several models of threads was used in the multi-threading models. So here basically we are using three things. One is the many to one, and another one is the one to one, and final one is the many to many. So here based on this terminology we can easily observe. So here many number of user programs can be executed by the single thread, and next one to one. So each user request was processed by the individual thread, and many to many. So many number of processes was executing simultaneously by many number of threads. So these are the different multi-threading models. So now we observe how we are going to implement anything in many to one threading model. So here many indicates more number of user level threads. So here more number of users are using the more number of nodes are using the threads for their individual processes. So these all are handled by the single kernel. So that's why this is the many. So these all are the many number of threads. So these many number of threads are forwarding their data, submitting their data to the single core kernel thread. So here this kernel thread is responsible for so here this kernel thread is responsible for executing those user required processes. So for that purpose here we are using the kernel thread. So that means single kernel thread was used for executing the multiple processes or multiple threads. by the single kernel thread. So here the single kernel thread is responsible for processing those multiple threads given by the user. So for now we observe a few examples for the many to one implementations or many to one thread implementation is Solaris and GNU portal threads. So these two threading methods was used many to one mechanism or many to one threading. And next one is the one to one. So that means here each and every user or every thread, user level thread is executed by the individual kernel threads. So that means many one to one. So some specific processes handled are executed by the particular kernel. After completion of that one, another one. So in this manner. So here a number of threads for process sometimes restricted due to the overhead. So that means how many number of threads was used for a single process. So that count or that particular thing, how many number of threads are used for a single correct, in one-to-one threading model. So here each and every user level thread was mapping to the individual kernel thread. So that means in case there are four users, then those four users related processes was processing by the four threads. In case 10 users, then 10 threads. In case 100 users, then 100 users. So in this manner. So in this, it was very concurrently executing the many to one. Why? Because here number of threads for process. So it was sometimes restricted. So why? Because due to the overhead. So why? Because more number of threads was allowed for a more number of process. At that situation, what happened? The particular process can't able to handle those number of threads. So now we observe some examples. Whatever the several operating systems was used this kind of technique to implementing their operating system services means. So those are Windows, Linux, and Solaris. So these three operating systems was using the one-to-one multi-threading concept. So that means only one thread and only one kernel thread. And next one. So many to many model. So here many number of threads was organized and handled by the many number of kernel threads. So more number of user threads and more number of kernel threads. So that is nothing but many to many model. So that means here we can observe there are approximately 4 number of threads. These 4 number of threads was handled by the 3 kernels. So in this manner. So this many to many model was supported in Solaris. So previous also was discussed one to one. In that session also we have discussed Solaris. So but in this many to many model, whenever it was having the proper or sufficient number of kernel threads. So at that time, so it can allows the that particular multi-threading programming execution. So in this, so simple example is the Solaris. So actually this Solaris was previously we discussed. So one-to-one threading model was supported by the one-to-one model was supported by the what is that? Solaris. But here after the 9th version, the 9th and more, 9 star, so 9 or more, that means 9, 10, 11, 12. So these versions are using the many to many model. And next kind of multi-threading or multi-programming model is two-level model. So that is so here whenever this two-level model is actually very similar to the many to many model. So why? Because here it was allows so here this kernel threads was allowing the multiple threads for execution. So that means here each and every kernel thread is responsible for executing or processing more than one thread. So more than one thread. So more than one user thread. So that means here we are using the more than one user threads, simultaneously we are using the more number of kernel threads. But here what is the main important thing, the main point is so here number of threads even the greater than the number of kernel threads, so still it was also allowed in this mechanism. So the simple examples for two-level models is IRIX, HPUX, 264 Unix, and Solaris 8 and earlier versions of the Solaris operating system. These all are using the two-level models. And then the next concept is, so these are the few details about the multi-thread modeling. So now we observe somewhat few details about the multi-threads or thread libraries. So here actually thread libraries was responsible for providing the API, application programming interface, providing the API for creating and managing the such threads. So while we are going to creating the threads and managing the threads at that situation, the main thing of this thread libraries is so to provide so thread libraries is used to providing the API. So with the help of this API, either programmer or user can develop their own threads for solving their problems. So in this process, the major things was library is entirely in user space, and another one is kernel level library supported by the operating system. So that means so while we are going to implementing the thread libraries at the situation, the basic and tough complex job complexity is while we are going to handling the those threads by using some APIs, or while we are going to creating threads, or while we are going to processing threads, or while we are going to destroying such threads. So in this process, so here the particular library, how the particular libraries can store and maintains the several properties or several things. So based on this thread libraries, we can easily use any specific API for our required language. So now we observe next one is the pthreads. So here pthreads means POSIX. So POSIX standard threads. So here the basic API for the thread creation and synchronization will be displayed, will be shown in shortly. So here while we are going to observing either POSIX and IEEE 1003, so that is 1003.c. So these two are used, these two or more are used so so just now we observe thread libraries. So by using these thread libraries, we can implement and we can create any threads. So now we observe the pthread. So actually this is the one of the thread program. It was implemented in which environment? Unix environment, which was implemented in the Unix environment. So here whatever the API we are using to developing that particular threads, so that API is responsible for that API is responsible for to providing the some specific behavior, to providing the some specific behavior for the that particular thread library. So that means based on the behavior of the such thread, so here library file was chosen and processing the that particular thread. So it was commonly we are using the some Unix based environments, and also we are used in Solaris and Mac OS. So these all are things was used the POSIX threads. So here this is the some sample code for how to create or how to implementing the POSIX thread. So here first of all we are taking some variable like sum. So this variable is used how much amount of data or how much amount of memory was currently shared by the thread. So here the particular thread was currently accessing or currently using how much amount of memory space. For that purpose we are taking the some variable like sum. So here next, so while we are going to running the particular thread at that situation, so here we are using the p threads. So that is p thread underscore t and tid. So this is nothing but the thread identifier. So this tid indicates the thread identifier, and attribute thread at attr, so it indicates the set of thread attributes. So in this process, in case that particular argument was not equivalent to the 2, so in case it was not equivalent to the 2, then it will displace the what is the what is the processing was processed by the that particular thread. Okay, so in this manner, so we are implementing this some simple program for the POSIX threads in Unix environment. So this is also continuation of that one. So here the thread will begin the control or execution of the particular thread. At that time we are using this is some sample code. So int space I and upper equals to a to I. So this is I. And then we assume the default sum value is 0. So whenever we are putting some specific thread or some specific process on the such one, so at that time it was increasing their temperature. Sorry. So it was increasing their for some more print this next we are using the thread. Okay, right. So here this simple program was used to conversion from lowercase text to the uppercase text. So for that purpose we are implementing this one. So that's why we are taking the some function, that is the upper function. So it was taking the some parameters and converting from lowercase to the uppercase. So now we observe what are the some simple code or sample code for joining the more than one thread. So for that purpose here we are taking some for loop, and we are starting from the initially we are starting from the 0 and check. So this I is less than or equal less than some number of threads. In case we want to add 10 threads, then here number of threads is the 10. So in this manner, and then increasing the I value. So whenever I value is 0, it will check. So that particular thread is already available for or not. In case available, so then we can display this some error message. In case not available, that means that particular thread was currently not assigned to that specific task. So in this way, so it was checking each and every time. So that particular thread was exceeds the required number of threads. So in case not exceeds, then it will creating this that particular thread. So in this manner. So in this manner, it was adding those multiple threads into the single process. So that's it. So these are the few details about the multi-threading environment and multiple threads. So in next session we can continue remaining things.